All right. Well, I'm gonna give you something different to look at. Bust my ass in the process. All the deer antlers, and then my wooden snakes. All right. I know I said I was done with the miracle themes, but I forgot about this one. And it's Sunday. So this is the prequel to the Kayla story. And it's Easter, so I figured why not read it. But this was 2004, I think. And this was actually, I used to think I was a poet. And I wrote poetry. None of it was really any good, I don't think. But I guess I got tired of it and decided I was going to start writing little short stories. And this was the first one. 2004, I'm pretty sure. But this is called High Hopes at Low Tide. Mom's got it, but I'm going to read it anyway. She says she likes the way I read them, so I'm going to read it. I've never been known as a religious man. Not that I'm without morals or values. I was just raised without a traditional faith or church. As a child, my parents would take me every weekend to their beach cottage at Bayvon Beach. They did so religiously, hardly ever missing a weekend for years on end. My father told me he could bring his family to church to sit for a while on Sunday, where they could bond for a lifetime in a place no man could build. Bayvon became my church and family my religion. One of my favorite things to do was walk the beach at low tide in search of arrowheads. I became quite proficient at finding these hidden treasures that always eluded everyone else. People would ask me, how do you find them among so many rocks and shells? I would always tell them, don't give up, they're always there. Just concentrate and have a little faith. Then, like pulling a fish from a barrel, I would pluck a napped stone from the sand to the dismay of the non-believers. Those arrowheads always gave me great comfort. They became a symbol of my character, my faith, so to speak. No matter what my troubles, I knew I could search the answers out on that beach. And upon holding one of those ancient treasures in my hand, I learned a valued lesson. A man driven by love of his family and faith in the incomprehensible could sustain the miracle of life through a stone fashioned with his own flesh and blood. It seems over the years I've forgotten that lesson. As a grown man with a wife and 2 children, now 3, my troubles are far greater than that of a child. Although I still visit Bayvon, my walks seem hurried, and it has been many, many years since I've found an arrowhead. Recently, I was overcome with the pressures of family life. A series of events wedged my family apart by individual issues, and I felt helpless to pull us back together again. I became withdrawn and angry, then fatigued and depressed. As we slipped further apart, the guilt of my impending failure made me weak and physically ill. With nowhere to turn, I called upon an unassuming friend for advice. That was Steve Chafin. With no conclusive solution to my problems, he gave me some of the oddest advice. He said, sometimes you need to find the nearest church, fall on your knees and pray to God. Since I had no particular church or religion and never had, the whole concept of this advice was foreign to me, and I failed to give it much consideration. Sometime later, I found myself back at Bayvon working on my parents' cottage. At day's end, there was just a few minutes of light left, so I decided to take a quick walk. Upon crossing the dunes, I noticed the tide was low. I began searching for arrowheads, eventually crawling around on my hands and knees like a child in the mud. But as the light faded, so too did my faith in finding the treasure I seeked. Disheartened at my endeavor and again feeling the guilt over my family, I reluctantly turned back, feeling dejected. But as I took pause to listen to a choir of gulls, I saw the indentured sun bow its blazing crown beneath a starry cathedral. I realized I was in the only church I've ever known. Yeah, fuck. In a in an act of faith, I again fell to my knees, and through the darkness, my fingers grazed over sand and shells, tracing each shape and texture to my mind's eye. As the wind sermoned hope and the waves baptized forgiveness, the dark depths of doubt departed, and in between my palms appeared an arrowhead. My crucifix, my faith. It took a little pointed rock to remind me of a lesson I had long ago forgotten. A man driven by love for his family and a little faith can sustain life through his own flesh and blood. I need not dwell on the mistakes of the past, but give more of myself, and my faith will bring my family together again. They say God works in mysterious ways. I say, have a little faith, and there's no need to solve the mystery. God is in the details, even a windswept beach at low tide. I have never been known as a religious man, but I'll never be mistaken as a man without faith. Another true story. Again, I almost lost it, but I was able to hold it together. But I do remember that. I mean, it was dark. I was up in the mud flats on the other side of the, well, nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about but my parents, but I just had to find an area for some reason. Crawling around, and there it was. Anyway, glad I made it through without losing. Oh, here's something else. I might do another story in an hour or so because I promised I would do a happy one, but we'll see.